Joining me now to get our heads around all the detail here, Environment Editor at The Australian, Graham Lloyd. Well, when you break it down, given what sort of price increases we've copped over the last 2 years, at best, you're going to get 7% in terms of a drop. A lot of people won't get anywhere near that, Graham. I think 0.9% was sort of down where most people can expect. For some people, some households, their bills are actually going to increase. Is this what people thought they were getting?
Well, good evening, Peter. It's certainly given the government something to attempt to hang its hat on, but it's not as clear as it appears. On face value, you would say that this is going to represent lower electricity bills for some households between sort of $20 to $50 a year. But the default offer isn't the price that everybody pays. It's a cap, if you like, that's recommended by the regulator, and about 50% of households are on offers that are less than that. And what we're seeing in the energy market is a squeeze on competition, and that's reflected in this report. So the reality is that we will probably see people having their electricity bills squeezed up towards this default price. So they won't be feeling any reductions there.
The opposition today said that Labor's $275 cut to your power bills promised at the election, that's officially dead. I know they've liked to blame it disappearing on the Ukraine war. I showed some footage at the top of the show, the Prime Minister making that promise long after the Ukraine war had begun. Do you think it's dead as well?
I think it's a Herculean task to think that it can be achieved because all the indicators are running in the other direction. The sort of saving of 275 was really something that was picked out of modelling from nowhere. The reality on the ground in terms of sort of transforming the electricity sector isn't going anywhere near as planned according to that modelling. So no, I don't think that will be delivered. The challenge is still on to keep the system together.
I guess the worry for me when you look at this is what we know is coming over the horizon. So now we're about 25% renewables. We're headed for 82% renewables in just 6 years. When we get to 82% renewables, Graham, we're going to have wind farms and solar farms as far as the eye can see, and we've got to get that power they're generating to market, to homes, to consumers. That means all these transmission lines, $100 billion worth of transmission lines. When you consider right now that the transmission cost is 40% of our power bill, if we go out and spend $100 billion, that's got to be paid for. That's going to get into our power bills as well, and that's when they're going to go like this, isn't it?
Well, that's right. I think there was an extraordinary sort of figure there at 40% of the cost is in the transmission infrastructure, and we know that is where a great deal of money has to be spent. They're regulated assets, they'll get a return on investment, and that has to come from power users or taxpayers. And the other thing is the system that Mr. Bowen is putting in place to underwrite the profitability of these renewable energy projects. It's really unknown how that is going to play out. And if we build a lot of projects and they're only required to run at certain times, will they be paid for the times they're not allowed to run? This is an issue that is causing a great deal of financial pain in the UK at the moment, and it's something that needs to be carefully watched.
You're right to remind you, he hasn't put that modelling out. He's keeping the detail there commercially in confidence, he says, or well, let's call that secret. And we also know that there's billions of dollars on the table too for coal generation to keep coal-fired power going so we can keep the lights on. Goodness me, what a mess. Graham Lloyd, thank you.